Well, looks like Joe didn't get enough sleep last night.
Joe, sorry.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar. Joe was actually, just prepping for this webinar. We're going to talk about sleep today. I don't know. Some of you may be called out on this. We don't know. You know what? Actually, I have talked to a few people in the past week who told me they typically only get 3 hours of sleep, which was shocking to me. Each night, 3 hours. That's it. And they said they function fine. And I got a lot of questions about that. So
Yeah.
this will be a really good topic to dig into.
Oh,
And
yeah. Sleep's a
yes,
big one.
before
You
go
guys,
ahead.
you guys, I didn't even tell you this. Last night I went to a diabetes seminar for medical personnel, medical doctors, but not just doctors. It was like there were most of the people there were nurse practitioners or physician assistants, doctors, and even some nurses and ancillary personnel. So it was a big conference, and this was from the Diabetes Research Institute. This is like the premier diabetes research center in the world. And so these are the people who know all about diabetes, right? I was shocked. Let me tell you. So any of you watching on our webinars, you know more than the greatest research doctors in the world. You know more. They don't even know how to diagnose diabetes. They don't know what it is they're treating. They don't know anything about insulin resistance and what it means and how to test for it and what to do about it. And they don't know how to treat it. They don't know how to reverse it. So all they're talking about is you can use this medication and that medication, and they don't know that that medication causes more insulin resistance and makes people worse over long. They just they don't know. When I ask them questions, they go, "No, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know." And it's really shocking to me, shocking that they really are 20 to 30 years behind the research. They don't know. And these are like this is the top people in the world. These are like, this isn't like some Joe Schmo out in the country somewhere. This is like, these are the people that do the research. They should know what's going on, and they don't. So I was thinking yesterday, I was listening to these people talk, and they're giving these talks in the seminar that are completely off base. They don't know what they're doing. And then I'm thinking, wow, you know what? In our webinars, Leslie knows a whole lot more than these guys do, and could help all of you so much better than any of these guys do. No wonder the doctors are having problems. You guys are saying you go to your doctor and say, "Hey, I want to do this," and they're like, "What? You can't do that. I don't know anything about that." Well, no wonder. The research people don't know what's going on. These are the guys that are writing the articles that are in the journals that your doctors are reading. It's just really, really shocking. Really shocking.
I talked to a few people in the past week who I asked them, they told me that their blood sugar numbers are really high. And I say, where does your doctor want your numbers to be? Just out of curiosity, because I like to ask people those things. They have no idea. They have no idea. The doctor never told them where their numbers should be, just said, here's the medication that you take. And they just tell them if it's high. And that was it. And I thought that's really interesting because we talk about that on the webinars. What's ideal, when to feel like you can move from different phases, et cetera. But I didn't realize that what we have here is such a gift. And I feel like you're very transparent. You tell us the stuff that you're learning, and you encourage us to take care of our health, which is amazing.
This is so far. This webinar is so far advanced from anything you could get anywhere else in the world. It's just, I'm amazed that none of these doctors are reading science journals, that they're only reading medical journals, and the people writing the medical journals don't read the science journals. So they are literally 20 years behind the current research. They don't know what causes diabetes. They don't know about insulin resistance. They don't even know the real difference between type 1 and type 2. They don't know why you shouldn't use insulin when you're a type 2 diabetic. They just they're completely clueless. And all of that research has been done. It's all out there. It's easy to find, but it's in science journals. And so they don't look in science journals.
So a couple
It's really
things.
bad.
Dr. Saunders is a doctor, but he is not your doctor. So please discuss things with your doctor before you implement anything we talk about here today. I have to say that. Also, what was my next question? I got distracted by my disclaimer. I forgot. Oh, it was going to be good.
And now we segue to our memory supplement. Just kidding.
I got distracted by my disclaimer. Okay, I think someone just told me something here. What was it? Oh, I lost it. Totally lost what I was going to say, but we're very thankful for you. I know what it was. So, I mean, you're a medical doctor. You were trained to read medical journals. Why did you branch out? What made you decide, hey, I need to find more information here?
Looking. Curiosity would be part of it, but more than curiosity is Joe came up with this. Help people more. And so if I'm sitting in an office and I'm giving out medications, that may be helping some people, maybe hurting some people, we've found out. And so how can I help people more? Well, it turns out I can help them more if they fix the problem instead of just treating the symptom. So then in order to find how to find the problem, first of all, and then how to fix it, I needed to go into the science journals because that's where all the research is being done.
Okay, we got a lot of people who are commenting in here, so this is great. Everyone is so thankful they found this webinar. We might have to start charging a couple $100 each webinar, each person. I don't know. I think we might be. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Maybe someday. But I love this webinar too, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. Lots of feedback. Judy says, "You go, Dr. Saunders. Thank you so much for all that you do and all of you." Julie says, "I do know that I totally believe you, Dr. Saunders. Been searching for a functional doctor and have been dissatisfied with 4 now in total doctors." Terry says, "That's why I like being here. Thank you." Julie says, "I've been searching for a good primary care doctor." Priscilla said, "The doctor in my clinic gave different targets A1C levels for people over 60. Do you hear that a lot? And what are your thoughts about
Oh,
that?
yeah, yesterday they were talking about if you can get an A1C of 7.5, you're doing good. And I'm like, you guys, 7.5 is diabetes. You got to get it down to 5.4 is really where it should be, and or less. 5.0 to 5.4. That's what we're looking for, so that you're non-diabetic, and that's what we have seen many people do, thousands of people, literally thousands of people. And so, with all of those people, oh, and here's something interesting. So one of the things that they said in this webinar, the endocrinologist said, "Oh, don't ever do a ketogenic diet. That would be really bad because fat's bad for you." And I'm like, where did they get this stuff? This is like 30, 40, 50-year-old information. This is like really, really, really old information. They are not keeping up at all. So number one, 7.5 hemoglobin A1C? No way. No way. 5.0 to 5.4. That's where you want to be. And then the other one is ketogenic diet. Don't do a ketogenic diet. So on the one hand, they say, yeah, your lifestyle, you can reverse diabetes, but then they won't give you the lifestyle that actually can reverse diabetes. So they're working actually against you for saying, oh yeah, it's possible you can reverse diabetes with lifestyle, but we're not going to tell you what that is, or we're going to tell you to do something else that will not work to reverse it.
So I also hear a lot of people that say, "Oh, I found out I had type 2." Some doctors do refer them to a dietitian who also works at the hospital. What is typically happening with the dietitians? What are they recommending? I'm still hearing 5 meals a day.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? That was I don't know. I don't know, but they're still teaching this in nutrition schools that 5 small meals a day with snacks in between, so you never have an empty stomach. And that causes all kinds of stomach problems, intestinal problems, diabetes, heart disease, cancer. You know what? That's the worst advice you can give to a human being next to,
So yeah, wow. And that's the hard part is there's so much information also online. And so, maybe some of you have gotten to this point where you're like, okay, I want to take my own health into my own hands. I want to figure this out for myself. So you hop online and you're like, oh my goodness, there is so much information, right? And maybe you stumbled upon Joe talking on a video, and that's how you ended up here. But there is hope. There is hope. You've come to a good place, and that's why these webinars are here. So if you're not familiar with the Diabetes Solution Kit, that is primarily what we talk about on these webinars. And that is an option that Dr. Saunders and the team have put together to help you to reverse this. And we talk about all of these things in depth. Today, we're actually going to be focusing on sleep. And I'm excited to talk about this because I think sleep has to impact your numbers. I hear people say my diet is perfect. I'm doing all the right things, but I only sleep 3 hours a night. Could that be contributing to their high blood sugar numbers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sleep is very important. So, if you're not getting enough sleep, then you are catabolic and you're making a catabolic hormone called cortisol. Cortisol makes you resistant to insulin directly. So, if you have low cortisol, then you're going to have high insulin levels and you're going to have high blood sugar levels. So, you want your cortisol to come down at night. And a normal circadian rhythm is you make your cortisol about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, you peak your cortisol, and then it immediately starts dropping down. And by the 10 o'clock at night, it's at its lowest point, and you need to be asleep by 10 o'clock at night. And those first 4 hours from 10 to 2 are very important for restorative sleep. That's what rebuilds and repairs and does all of the anabolic metabolism in your body. Anabolic means rebuilding or building up. And so all of that happens in those first 4 hours. And then if you wake up in the middle of the night, oh, well, just during light sleep or whatever, you can be awake and just lay there and it's perfectly okay. A lot of people, they freak out. They wake up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and they go, I couldn't get back to sleep. Well, no, because you're all worried about it. If you just, lay there for a little while and yeah, if it takes an hour, oh, well, it's okay. Keep your eyes closed, think about things, count sheep, pray, do whatever that is a calming kind of thing, and just rest. And it's okay in the middle of the night to just rest for an hour or two. That's not a problem. And then you'll go back to sleep, and then you'll get your REM sleep, and that's the second part of sleep. So people often worry too much about how much they're sleeping. And yeah, it's true. If you don't get enough sleep, then you're gonna have a hard day the next day because you're gonna feel tired all the time and whatever. But then you can take a nap. Naps are not bad. There's no. I'm not saying you shouldn't take a nap. I'm saying if you want to sleep all night, then don't take a nap. If you don't care about sleeping all night, then go ahead and take a nap. Naps replace your REM sleep or your light sleep, but they don't give you deep sleep as a rule. So the deep sleep needs to be between 10 and 2. So that's all you need. After that, you could just lay there and rest and keep your eyes closed, and that's fine. or get up. Some people get up and they do something and then they go back to sleep a little later. That's okay too. But most of the problem with sleep is the people that are worried about sleep because that worry makes them produce more of the cortisol and adrenaline. And then, of course, they're not going to sleep because now the heart's pounding and you know this is horrible, and it gets worse because you think it's horrible. If you just lay there and go, oh well, whatever, I'll go back to sleep eventually, then you will, and things will work out a lot better.
All right. So Julie said, are there human beings who don't need to sleep between 10 and 2?
Um, Probably not. Okay, so the research, people often would say, well, can I just move that back to midnight, to 8, midnight to 8? I still get 8 hours, right? Do you know what? You don't get anabolic. That's the problem, that you're not getting that anabolic metabolism to rebuild and repair your body. So people have tried that, and research has been done on that, and they looked at people that do shift work. They looked at nurses and police officers, and the nurses that work in the night shift, and they say, I love the night shift. It's quiet, it's relaxed, there's nothing going on, there's no doctors in the house. Everything's good at night, and then I get to go home and sleep, and I seem to sleep better during the day. You know what? They don't get anabolic. They don't repair their bodies. They're actually breaking down. So it's not, even if you feel better about it, it's your circadian rhythm is important. And the cortisol that you're producing in the morning is important. And having very low cortisol at night and producing human growth hormone at night is very important. And so having that structure of going to bed by 10 o'clock, sleeping till at least 2 o'clock in the morning, and then after that, getting your light sleep and REM sleep and all that, and that's fine.
Right. Actually, was just posting this. If you are posting questions in the chat and you could take those and put those in the Q&A, that would be wonderful. Just a little bit easier to manage there. Okay, Paul said, is jet lag what they call adjusting your body's circadian rhythms to a different time zone?
Yes, yes. So that's an interesting thing. Then the studies have been done on that too. So for jet lag, if you go to let's say you go to like China, India, on the other side of the world, where you're now exactly opposite from your day-night schedule. And so in order to adjust your circadian rhythm, it's going to take about 1 day for every hour you want to adjust it. And so some people say, well, I'll just move to China and work nights, and then I'll stay on the same schedule. But what's really weird is because of the sunshine and whatever other reasons, it doesn't work that way. You can't just decide that you're going to make your schedule, because within 2 weeks of working nights in China, you will be on the China schedule, the circadian rhythm, and you will no longer, or you weren't during that time, anabolic. And so you don't repair your body, and you don't uh, you don't get anabolic, and you don't get rest. You don't get the deep rest that your body needs.
Okay. This is from Anonymous. I had digestive problems, including reflux, for at least 5 years. My medical doctors prescribed pantoprazole, 40 milligrams.
Pantoprazole.
So close. 40 milligrams once a day, and famotidine, 20 milligrams
Yeah.
once per day. I figured out that the problems were side effects of taking metformin. In June, I stopped taking metformin, and within 2 days, the digestive problems ceased. Since have had no reflux problems, so I'll be stopping to take these medications. tapering off over the next 3 weeks. I have reflux reliever and I want to start taking it. Should I start it now or should I wait for the 3 weeks before I start?
Well, I don't even know why you're waiting 3 weeks. If you already know you don't need those, then just stop taking them. In fact, what's really funny about having those two together is the famotidine prevents you from absorbing the pantoprazole anyway. So it's pretty much useless either way. So you might as well just stop taking them. And why would you need the reflux reliever if that wasn't your issue, if you don't have that, if you're not taking the metformin and you don't have those stomach issues anymore, then you wouldn't even need that. So if you go off all of them and you have some reflux, then you go, okay, I'll take the reflux reliever. Yeah, that'd be great. And that's a good way to do it because when you go off them, you probably won't have any issues at all.
All right. Don says, spent July and August visiting with family in different parts of the country, and I let myself go and ate what they ate. Recently, I had blood tests done after fasting 12 hours, glucose 103, A1C 6.0, insulin 35.1. What is the best thing I can do to improve these numbers?
Okay, so what you need is not to improve numbers. You need to improve metabolism. The Stello from Dexcom would be a great thing to have, right, Joe?
Yep, that one right here.
Yeah, yeah, and you could just go online and order it, and it connects to your phone, and it gives you real time. Every 5 minutes, it's taking a blood glucose level, and you can see how whatever you're doing is affecting your blood glucose, how exercise affects it, and all that. So that would be a great thing to do. What you need is to improve insulin sensitivity. Your insulin is very high, 35. Well, you got to get insulin down. So the way to get insulin down is to eat fewer meals, fewer times in a day, and to eat fewer carbohydrates. So avoid carbohydrates and avoid eating. Those are the only two things you have to do.
Joe, do you want to share a little bit about this? First of all, did it hurt to put that on?
No, I was actually pretty surprised. So I'll get the applicator here quick.
It's really easy. They have these applicators. Yeah, and
Yeah,
you just push on them.
yeah. So it's like, I don't know, this is like preloaded. It's got a little button on it. And then you just stick it here and you press the button and pop, and it doesn't, you can't even tell there's a needle. And somehow it like pokes you, inserts a little sensor, and it's done. And the thing is stuck to you, and then you just like press it on, and it's got some glue or whatever. And yeah, it doesn't hurt at all. If I was smarter, I wouldn't have put it where I have arm hair because that kind of pulled on that for a couple days. But yeah, it doesn't hurt at all. So I've been learning a lot. I've got like this is mine right now. Let's see. 107. And so like I've been eating low carb for almost a week now, and my numbers have gotten a lot better. But I do think like there's a variance in like the difference between what my poke monitor will show me, like a finger poke, and this. It's like probably an average of 15% higher on the CGM for whatever reason. So this makes it look like I'm like pre-diabetic or sometimes diabetic, but I don't think I am. So based on the sugar or the monitor.
So that's the nice thing about the Stello. The Stello, when you go on to your app, and you do a finger stick, and it shows you significantly different, then you can adjust it to your finger stick, and you can say, oh, my finger stick says it's this. And not that. And so it will adjust according to your finger stick and then give you a more accurate or a reading that'll more closely resemble what your finger stick would be.
No, I didn't know that. That's good to know. I'll have to see if I can figure that out. So,
Yeah.
adjust it.
You go on the app and you have to adjust. You have to
Hmm.
adjust it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, it's very interesting, but it'll show you like a couple days ago I had had a couple pieces of peanut butter toast with peaches on it, and it's one of my favorites. And sure enough, it shot up my glucose. But then I had the same thing today, but I ate eggs with vegetables in it first, and it didn't spike nearly as much, which was very interesting. So it's like
So, well, how much did it spike the first time? What was the number?
I think it got up to over maybe 150 or 160 just for
Oh, wow.
a couple 10, 15 minutes, but it
Well, that's pretty high.
yeah.
That's really high.
But again, I think that's high by 15%, so it might have only been 140-ish, but still, yeah.
Still,
It still
that's
spiked,
high.
but it didn't
Yeah.
spike nearly as much today when I had the same thing, but I had eggs first. Like I ate the protein with the veggies, which I think can help slow down the spikes.
Yeah. So where did it peak this time?
Let me look here. Um, it it didn't hardly even move. Like it was honestly, it was the highest it ever got today was 118.
Okay. So
So
below 120. Good. And that's where it
yeah,
should be. It should stay below 120.
okay,
That's that's optimal.
yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's you don't need a prescription anymore. Doesn't hurt. You get a lot of data. Like yeah, every 5 minutes you got a new number. So super insightful. And like they say, what you measure improves. So if you're measuring something, you'll just naturally be like, oh, I gotta fix that or change that or tweak that. So highly recommend CGM. And yes, it is waterproof. I've been in the hot tub, take showers every day, most days anyways, and it's all fine. Yeah. I think it's waterproof for 8 meters or something like that. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah.
I think there was another question about this too. Oh, someone had mentioned, I think Joe had mentioned he's been doing low carb, for about a week. And Ryan had asked in these conversations about low to no carbs, if the carbs are from vegetables, are we still staying away from them? I definitely refrain from the simple carbs. And it kind of depends if you're doing our diabetes solution kit. And in phase one, the goal is to eat 20 or 20 grams or less of net carbs. So lots of things have carbs, unfortunately. So we do keep track of those, but there's a lot of free vegetables that we talk about. Didn't we find out a week or two ago someone can't have, was it cucumbers? Were they allergic to cucumbers or what was that?
I don't remember.
Is that might have, okay.
Yeah, they spiked their blood sugar.
Well, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we do have a lot of free foods that you can eat that you don't need to count, and those are in our diabetes solution kit. Anything you want to add to that, Dr. Saunders?
Yeah, you know what? I have been doing phase one now for over 2 months, and it's hard for me only because I crave carbohydrates. But it's actually really good this morning. I had 4 eggs with avocado, and I got some sausage and cut it up in there and mixed it all up, and then avocado and then salsa. And I've been doing really well, keeping below 20 carbs a day. Not every day. Yesterday I had some watermelon. uh, sometimes I've gone off, but you know what? I've lost my belly fat and I feel better. I feel great, and I'm running my 5K every day and feeling great with that. And so. And I'm eating vegetables like crazy. Like I have celery, and I have had carrots, but not recently. And salads. I'll have a big salad. I'm not like so tied to meats that I don't. I get tired of eating meat all the time, so I need vegetables. So I get a lot of broccoli and cauliflower. And then I'll make a salad with a bunch of different vegetables in it. And I have cucumbers too all the time. Yeah.
All right. Paul said, so interesting. I was told by my military treatment facility that I would not be authorized to get a continuous glucose monitor because I'm not on insulin. Is that a Medicare rule or just ignorance in running my clinic? I'm a type 2 patient.
Yeah, that was a Medicare rule, but now a lot of insurances are covering the Dexcom CGM for type 2 as well. So it depends on your insurance. Some insurance will cover it, some insurance won't. It was really interesting that Stella wrote in, what's the name of Joe's
Oh,
glucometer?
honey.
And Stella, and the name of the glucometer is Stella,
Stello, yeah.
or Stello, yeah.
That's
Stello.com.
awesome. All
No
right.
affiliation here either. I don't make anything if you buy it. It's just like Dexcom's newest product. So
Good question here. I think this is from Terry, oh, from Eve. What are the researchers doing with the money that is donated for diabetes research, and how can they get away with it?
great question.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, these guys that do diabetes research here, they make $500,000 a year, and I'm not sure what they're doing, but they're getting money from all the donations for diabetes research.
And I did see someone else had commented. I don't know if I can find it again, but I think they said, aren't the pharmaceutical companies also tied into those medical journals? Don't they have
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Their medical journals are entirely funded by pharmaceutical companies. So the medical journals cannot print anything that is not approved of by the pharmaceuticals. So they're not going to get information on there. Like so, for example, yesterday they say you can cure diabetes, but don't use a ketogenic diet. That's the worst diet you can use. Why? Because that cures diabetes type 2. And you can't do that because then people would go off their medications. And so the medical journals are going to say one thing, but then they'll never actually give you the information that you need to actually do that thing so that you're stuck in the dark and all they have is, well, then all you can do is take this drug, take that injection, use insulin, blah blah blah.
I think you guys would be shocked if you knew all the things that we couldn't say or share. Even in our marketing, there's a lot of words that we can't use or they try to shut us down. And yeah, it's sad. Now we'll probably get this shut down, honestly.
Fact checkers, kind of like the debate last night. That was fun, huh? The fact checkers, they'll fact check certain things, and then we run into it all the time. We'll tell people like, yes, type 2 diabetes can be reversed if you make some changes, and then fact check, this has not been proven to be. It's like, really? Like there's so many scientific, even medical journals out there. Like right now, just go to Google. Is type 2 reversible? Yes, Mayo Clinic. It's like, fact check, hello. Yeah, whatever. It's like
It's sad.
it's sad, yeah.
So if you're catching this live, you have a real benefit because it may not be available tomorrow.
That's right.
Good job. Good job. All right. Here we go. Alice says 2 weeks ago, I went to see my diabetes guy. My GP knew I was going to work on some supplement and did blood work for me. Well, the diabetes guy was floored, skeptical, and somewhat speechless. He wanted me back on metformin. I gave him lots of blood sugar data that we discussed. In the end, he was willing to take some of our information, cytochroma, turmeric, berberine, the website, and webinar site. The best was when he wrote on my medical form to not take metformin. I see him again in December, sure to be a lower A1C.
Wow, good work. Good work.
Actually, if you're okay with that,
See,
Alice, I'm going to share that with the team.
okay. So here's the reality that is an important point. It's the patients that are going to teach the doctors because the doctors that are making all the money from the drug companies to write the articles in the medical journals are not going to tell the doctors in the field that are working with patients how to do it. It's their patients that are going to come to them and they're going to say, I reversed my diabetes. And then the doctors are going to say, how did you do that? And then you'll tell them how you did it. And then they'll say, wow, I'm going to have my other patients do that. And that's how it spreads. Grassroots.
Now I got to ask this though. Are doctors losing out on money by not recommending drugs though?
No, no, not at all. No, the doctor gets paid by the visit. So just, the number of visits, the number of people that they see every day, and has really nothing to do with the drugs they prescribe.
Did
So
it
to the
used
doctor,
to?
it doesn't matter. What's that?
That used to be a thing?
No. Well, there's only like oncologists get paid for, if they prescribe a drug, then they get paid for administering the drug.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, but I think they're the only ones that make money off the drugs that they use.
Okay. A question here from Whitney. Use of magnets in Europe has been known to, I'm going to say reverse because I don't want to say the other word. They can now be reverse diabetes. They can now be imported to the US as a helper, but without any medical claims. History in Europe shows that they really work. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I've actually seen some research on that, and yeah, I don't understand how it works, and I've read some research on it as far as why diabetes, and it has some theories about it, or circulation, how it improves circulation by actually affecting the blood flow, because it's magnetic and the blood has iron in it. And but to tell you the truth, because I don't know how it works, it's really hard for me to say, oh yeah, that's a great thing. And I don't. But you know what? I don't know how acupuncture works either. But I do recommend people to go to acupuncture clinics sometimes. So I don't know. But yeah, I've seen research. It does work.
Okay. Alice says, I forgot to say that I've lost 10 pounds, sleeping better, less brain fog in the morning, and off my CPAP. That's
Wow,
amazing.
that's great.
Nice work. Mary said, what effect does daylight savings time have on the 10 to 2 sleep time? Do I need to adjust the time I go to bed at that time of year?
Yeah, it does mess people up. There's the people that do research in circadian rhythm are trying to tell the people that have control over the daylight savings time to say, you know what, don't even do daylight savings time. It's not good for people. There's more car accidents, there's more sleep issues. People have problems, more stress because of these just 1 hour change. So yes, it does affect you. And so it takes at least one day for every hour you want to change. So it's at least a day for it to become your new normal.
All right, Rayanne said my last A1C was 7.3, down from 12.1 last year. I get more blood work done tomorrow, but the best news is that I went to bed last night with a blood sugar of 105 and woke up with the blood sugar of 105. I'm expecting my next A1C to be even lower, and I'm finally on the road to normal.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so 12, A1C of 12. Wow, that is like, 2 to 300. Your blood sugar numbers are going to be 2 to 300. And if you're in Canada, that's going to be like 8 or 9 or 10, you're going to be way up there. And on average, and then your A1C down to 7.3. Beautiful. Good work.
Yes, very awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Beverly says, for some reason, I have been unable to sleep well for about the last week or two. Every symptom I have from every condition is exacerbated by so few hours. I've measured much higher blood pressure during this time. I've actually craved sweets, which is very unusual for me. My thinking is clouded and slow. So I believe all you say. How do you break a bad developing habit like this?
Okay. Sleep is an issue, and all of those things that you're talking about, the stress response for sleep doesn't cause all those problems, but whatever issues you have, it's going to make it worse. It's going to put you on edge for any kind of issues that you already have. So you're going to be irritable and clouded mind and all that kind of stuff too. So what to do about sleep? How do you get a good night's sleep? Okay. Um, Probably it seems like the most important thing is regularity. And the sleep people that I've talked to say the way they do it is to tell people to start off with the wake up time, not the go to bed time. Start off with the wake up time. Wake up at the same time every day. 6 a.m., 6 a.m., 6 a.m. Wake up at 6 a.m. and stay awake all day. And so when you start getting tired around 9 p.m., shut off all the lights and get ready for bed. Go brush your teeth, go change into your jammies, go do your prayers and all that stuff with the lights all dimmed or off and get ready for bed. And then if you wake up in the middle of the night, let's say you do go to bed early, like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and then you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what? Don't freak out. It's okay. It's okay to just lay there, close your eyes, relax. That's part of sleep too, and it's perfectly fine. But if you're awake that whole time, which you won't be, because studies show that people who say they wake up, they were awake all night long, compared to people who say they slept like a rock all night, and they have these monitors on them, and they can tell that they get the same amount of sleep. So why is it that one is saying they're not getting any sleep, and the other one is saying that they're getting plenty of sleep? So the difference is if you remember waking up, because everybody wakes up 5 to 10 times at night. That's normal. And so if you remember waking up 10 times at night, then you're like, gosh, I was up all night. I didn't sleep at all. But what if you wake up for a second and go right back to sleep and you don't remember waking up? Then you say I slept like a rock all night. And so the fact is it's normal to wake up many times throughout the night. And a lot of the issue is the worry. Don't worry about it. It's okay. That's the thing. So start off with getting up at the same time every day. And then as you get tired in the evening, then going to bed at night. And then if you wake up in the middle of the night, just lay there and keep your eyes closed and rest.
All
That's what I
right.
used to do when I was in kindergarten. We had, I don't know if you did, when I was in kindergarten, we had sleep time. We had a nap time. And the teacher would turn out the lights, we'd roll out our mats, and we'd lay down. And I never slept during the day, so I would be the one doing the army crawl around in the dark.
That's funny. Those were the days when you had to take a nap. That was good.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rosaria says I crave sugar all the time. When I check my sugar in the morning, it's always 200 to 215. Any suggestions how to stop the sugar craving?
Ah, I don't know. You know what, Rosario? I'm so sad because I'm it's been over 2 months that I've been off sugar and I still crave it. I still want it. Yesterday, my wife cut up a watermelon and I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat some watermelon because I know, I know. I don't, what do you do about cravings? I don't know what to do about cravings. What do you tell somebody who smoked for 20 years and they get off smoking, they quit smoking, and 5 years later they go, oh, I just want a cigarette. What do you tell them? Well, yeah, you should go ahead and have one. No. What do you tell an alcoholic that says, I just need a drink right now? And you don't say, yeah, go ahead and have one. So my best advice to you, how do you deal with the sugar cravings, is you're gonna fall. You're gonna eat some watermelon. You're gonna have a cookie. Someone's gonna offer you something, and you're gonna go, okay, I'm gonna eat it, and you eat it. But then you're just gonna go right back on the program. So it's not the number of times you fall; it's the number of times you get back up. So just do the best you can, and over time, it gets easier and easier very gradually. over months and years. And you know what? And at times, even then, especially like when you're stressed, we were just talking about the sleep. If you're not sleeping, for example, you'll crave carbs more. So when you're stressed, you'll have more cravings. And then you'll just go, I'll put it off, put it off, put it off as much as you can, and until your stress is gone, and then it'll be better. But you know what? You just put it off.
Julie says, I know I have a good dietitian now and I'm eating better to avoid glucose spikes because she says that causes inflammation and isn't good for you. So I'm eating using a strategy to avoid spikes. Now, my question is that kind of going along with the eat 5 meals a day so that it doesn't ever spike? Is that kind of because if you're eating every once in a while, your numbers, well, I guess they don't go back dramatically, but what are your thoughts about that? Do those spikes cause inflammation?
Um, yes, in a way. Yes, the spikes are bad. They're right about that. That is correct. That's true. That's a real thing. However, it's really short-sighted. It's looking at the minutia of something and not looking at the big picture and saying, what do you want to accomplish? So what you want to accomplish when you have type 2 is insulin sensitivity. That's what you want. And so, yes, if you're eating 5 small meals a day, you're not going to get those high spikes. That's true, that's real, that's a thing, and that's not wrong. However, it's really short-sighted for just that instant of not getting the spikes. What you really want is insulin sensitivity, which you get from eating fewer meals. So eating less, yes, eating fewer meals, eating fewer carbohydrates. That's the kind of plan that will give you insulin sensitivity so that you don't have type 2 anymore. If you continue to have a lot of meals a day, then you'll just continue to have diabetes and it's not going to get better.
Okay. Jan says, I have food allergies, eggs and cow's milk. Breakfast is my hardest time to find something that doesn't spike me tremendously. What do you suggest I try for breakfast? Hey, I just saw something today. Someone said, when you get done eating your final meal of the day, put it in a little container that you can pop in the microwave the next morning and have that for breakfast. Someone had just recommended that to me. So other thoughts, Dr. Saunders?
Yeah, have a salmon salad for breakfast. That's a great breakfast, or any kind of salad. I made a tofu hash with squash and tofu and some a can of tomatoes, and then I put some seeds and peppers. I put peppers and onions, of course, and celery. And it was really good. And I had that for breakfast. That's not bad. You don't have to have eggs and bacon and um, people usually have for breakfast, they have, some kind of pastry or some kind of um, pancakes, kind of carb thing. Uh, but, have a steak.
And you can always use salsa and avocados. That makes everything better. Maybe some cilantro.
That's what I had this morning, salsa and avocado. That's what I'm having for lunch too.
All right. Good question. All right. What is the cost of that monitor, Joe? I think you posted that in the chat somewhere.
It's $89. It's $89 a month.
Yep.
I think that's
subscribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just do it once, it's 99, but most likely you're going to want it more than a month.
Okay. Okay, so let me get some other. Okay, please talk about fat and its relationship to insulin. Please specify the difference between the fat we eat and the fat we store.
Okay. The fat you store it's in your there are triglycerides that are stored in your fat cells. They as the fat cells get bigger, as they get more fat, they produce something called leptin. Leptin is a hormone that tells your pituitary gland, well, actually your hypothalamus, to that you're done eating. So when you have this much fat, that's enough, and then you have enough. And so some people don't have that getting enough, and so they keep eating and they keep making more insulin, and so they keep getting more insulin resistant. That blocks them from using fat for energy, so they make more of the leptin, and then they get leptin resistant as well. And so there's a direct relationship between the insulin resistance and the leptin resistance. But the fat that you eat, when you eat fat, it goes directly through your lymph system into your blood. So it doesn't go through the liver. It just goes directly into your blood. And it has an effect on the insulin receptors in your body. So then that includes in your muscles. So if you eat a lot of fat, you're going to not be able to get glucose into your muscle cells as well. And so you can burn more fat for energy. So remember, you want to burn about 60% of your calories from fat and about 40% from glucose. So eating fat helps you do that by blocking the insulin receptors. However, if you eat fat with glucose, so if you have butter on your baked potato, then the fat from the butter blocks the insulin receptors and raises the blood sugar, causing the insulin to go up. Okay, so fat causes insulin resistance. So if you were to eat a no-fat diet, you can't eat a no-fat diet, but a very low-fat diet where you have nothing that is fatty. So you would not eat an avocado, and you would not eat nuts and seeds that have fat in them. You would just have fruit and vegetables. And if you did that, then you would lower your insulin resistance. You would use your glucose primarily for energy, and you actually get less insulin resistance because the fat causes insulin resistance. So there are whole programs for diabetes on a low-fat diet for diabetes, and that works too for some people. But the reason we didn't choose that for the diabetes solution kit is because it's not as expandable to as many people. Most people will do really well with the low carb diet because that's where their primary toxicity is in the carbohydrates.
Okay. All right, this is good. Dr. Saunders, thank you so much for all of this information today. This is a really good webinar. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'll
Bye.
see you next week.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll see you tomorrow. We have the Healthy
Tomorrow.
webinar tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be sure to join us. You can register for that at bartonwebinar.com. Same format. And we're talking about keeping your heart healthy or reversing heart disease. Anything else from you, Joe?
Ruth asked, Joe, are you a type 2? And if not a type 2, what made you decide to wear a Dexcom? So I'm wearing this because, well, first of all, no, I'm not type 2. I was borderline non-diabetic and pre-diabetic from my blood finger pokes or whatever. And so, and really it's like, this is our business and we want to learn more about what our customers go through and also me personally, just understanding my own body, my health. And I think was it Socrates, know thyself? And just the more you know about yourself and the more and I think he also said something about you really need to be your own doctor in a sense. You need to be the one that knows yourself the best, because doctors, if you do go work with them, have limited information, both in what they know about you and what they know about how to help you. So yeah, that's why these webinars are so valuable too. So it's the more information you can learn about yourself and about what works and keeps you healthy, the better. So I do all sorts of things. Supplements, sauna, exercise, food, sleep, all good stuff. The more of that stuff you can do, the better. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, Thank you, everyone, for being here, and come back tomorrow. And if not, we'll see you next week.